In a quiet neighborhood, every house looked the same. White fences, manicured lawns, and smiling faces. Families believed they had chosen safety, harmony, and order. The Homeowners Association, or HOA, promised to protect them. Rules were written to keep everything perfect. But beneath the perfect surface, cracks were forming. And behind the HOA's smile, something darker waited. The walls of the neighborhood carried whispers that no one wanted to hear. Miley received a violation notice for leaving their trash can outside too long. Another was fined for planting the wrong flowers. At first, neighbors laughed it off. Just rules, they said. But the letters became harsher, stamped in blood-red ink. The HOA president's smile grew thinner, colder. Families began to feel like prisoners in their own homes. The playground laughter faded into silence. At night, strange sounds echoed through the streets. A child whispered about hearing footsteps near the fences. Parents dismissed it, but the dogs barked at nothing. Street lamps flickered, casting long shadows across driveways. Then one night, neighbors swore they saw figures standing at the edge of the playground. Black silhouettes watching, unmoving. When police came, nothing was there. But the whispers grew louder. The HOA sent newsletters with cheerful titles, Building a Better Community. But inside, the rules twisted darker. Families were told not to go outside after 10 p.m. They were warned not to gather without permission. And most terrifying of all, children were forbidden from playing in the park. Parents tried to argue, but every meeting ended with threats of fines, or worse. The HOA's control was no longer about order, it was about fear. One night, a brave father confronted the board. He demanded answers. The HOA president leaned forward, eyes glowing faintly in the dark meeting room. "This community must be preserved," he whispered, "and sacrifices must be made." The lights flickered, papers flew from the table, and an unnatural wind filled the room. The father never returned home that night. His house stood empty by morning. Soon more houses went dark. Windows boarded up. Lawns overgrown. Families vanished one by one. Yet the HOA newsletter insisted everything was fine. "Community improvements underway," it read. But the neighbors knew the truth. Every family that spoke out disappeared. Children cried quietly in their rooms. Parents whispered about moving away, but the gates were always locked at night. Desperate, a group of families met secretly in a basement. Candlelight flickered on fearful faces. They shared stories of shadows watching, of strange symbols carved into sidewalks. One mother said she heard chanting outside her window at 3 a.m. Another swore she saw the board members walking without footsteps. The families made a pact. They would fight back. But the HOA was already watching. The rebellion began with chains. Parents broke open the locked playground at midnight. Children ran inside, laughter echoing again. For a moment, hope returned. But as the swings creaked and slides echoed with joy, the ground beneath began to glow. The strange symbols pulsed red, spreading across the sand and grass. Shadows rose from the corners, and the children's laughter turned into screams. The HOA president stood at the edge of the playground. His eyes burned like fire, his voice a whisper carried on the wind. "You broke the rules," he said. The shadows swarmed. Parents fought to protect their children. But one by one, the lights of the playground went out. Families vanished into the dark. The neighborhood stood silent once more. Only the empty swings moved in the night breeze. By morning, the playground was empty again. No children, no parents, just silence. The newsletter arrived in every mailbox, smiling as always. "Thank you for keeping our community safe." Neighbors avoided each other's eyes, pretending everything was normal. But at night, if you listened closely, you could still hear the laughter of lost children echoing from the playground. And the HOA kept smiling. On the corner of Maple Street stood a house no one dared to visit. Its paint was peeling, its yard wild with weeds, yet the HOA sent no violation letters. Every other family faced fines for the smallest mistake, but this house remained untouched. New neighbors asked why. Old residents lowered their voices, saying only, "It's not the house. It's what lives inside." At night, the blinds shifted as if someone was watching. But the house had been empty for years. Strange things began when a new family moved in. The Johnsons thought the stories were old gossip. They repainted the walls, trimmed the yard, and laughed at the neighbors' fear. But the very first night, their lights flickered. Their dog barked at corners where no one stood. The baby cried endlessly, staring at the ceiling. Mrs. Johnson swore she heard footsteps in the attic, slow and heavy. though the attic was sealed shut. Still, the family stayed. The HOA board welcomed them with smiles that seemed too wide. "Keep the house as it is," they warned softly. "Do not change too much." The Johnsons brushed it off as strange advice. But when Mr. Johnson replaced the rusted mailbox, he found a letter inside. The paper was yellow, the handwriting old. It read, "The house belongs to us. Do not disturb the silence." That night, the replaced mailbox fell over, split clean in two. Neighbors noticed changes. The Johnsons seemed pale, tired, drained of life. They walked slower, avoided eye contact, and whispered to themselves. Their windows glowed with faint red light after midnight. Children passing by swore they heard voices chanting from inside. The HOA never interfered. In fact, the president began visiting often, slipping into the house with briefcases full of papers. No one knew what business they had, but everyone felt the neighborhood sink deeper into fear. One evening, Mrs. Johnson was seen standing at the window for hours. She didn't move, didn't blink. When her neighbor called out, her head turned, but her eyes were black, hollow, endless. By morning, the Johnsons were gone. The house stood empty once more. But this time, neighbors noticed the grass had grown overnight, twisting into strange patterns. On the front door, carved deep into the wood, was a symbol that looked like an eye. The HOA sent out a notice the next day. "No one is to enter the house at 117 Maple Street. Violators will be fined." The letter was cheerful, decorated with smiling cartoon houses. But everyone knew it was more than a rule, it was a warning. Still, two teenagers dared each other to sneak inside. They carried flashlights, laughing nervously. But when the door shut behind them, the lights went out. Their screams echoed into the night. They were never seen again. Rumors spread quickly. Some said the house was alive, feeding on whoever disturbed it. Others whispered that the HOA had made a pact with whatever lived inside, trading neighbors for peace. Every night, the house seemed to breathe, windows fogging as if exhaling. The wind around it carried voices, begging to be freed. Yet no one dared to help. Fear was stronger than courage, and silence became the law of the street. One brave man, an old resident named Carter, decided enough was enough. He gathered neighbors, torches, and tools. "We end this tonight," he said. The crowd marched toward the house, but the closer they came, the heavier the air grew. Their torches dimmed. Their voices faded. And by the time they reached the porch, half of them were gone, vanished into the shadows. Carter opened the door, but inside there was nothing, only endless darkness stretching forever. The HOA president arrived, clapping slowly. His eyes glowed faintly red. "Order must be maintained," he whispered. The darkness rushed forward, swallowing Carter and the others. The screams were deafening, then cut off. When the door slammed shut, the house looked normal again, quiet, still, harmless. The president adjusted his tie, smiled at the remaining neighbors, and walked away as if nothing had happened. Morning came, and the Johnsons' house stood empty once more. Fresh flowers sat on the porch, though no one had placed them there. The HOA sent out another cheerful letter. "Community spirit is stronger than ever. Thank you for your cooperation." But no one spoke of Carter or the teenagers or the Johnsons. And at night, when the wind howled through Maple Street, the house whispered in 1,000 voices, voices of everyone it had taken,